another episode of 10 Steps Ahead. I'm your girl, DeShawn Snow.
And the other co-host, Skido, in the building here. I'm still excited about these cars. I'm sorry.
I know.
10 Steps Ahead. It's so dope. I like this. I'm sorry. I've been holding it like this the whole time.
You're so funny.
What's up, D?
What up, though?
Man, I still like how you say that what up, though shit.
Yes.
That Detroit shit is so fire. I got to add that when I go to New York. I'm going to start doing that for a while, for the whole week.
Represent.
Yeah.
Okay, so today we want to talk about starting over. I did an interview, and a lot of questions I got was, how do you start over? I do like to say, though, it's never starting over, it's starting again, because now you're going at it from a level of experience that you have from what you went through. So in your life, what was a challenging time in your life that had you to pivot, where you had to start from the bottom?
Wow.
And start all over.
True story. The worst time I had to start over is when my mother passed.
Oh.
So when I don't know, everything looked like it was falling apart. It looked like I think I was falling apart. So then I was going through the motions and I was losing things, thinking I was handling my business, but I was gone. And to the point where everything just collapsed and nothing mattered. Just everything was devastating to me. But then I said that was the worst time. So I lost my mother. Now I'm losing business because I can't focus. Everything doesn't mean anything no more. I lost the love of my life. You know what I'm saying? So nothing matters no more.
Yes.
And I went to a bad, it just got darker and darker to the point, man. This true story. Nobody really knew this. When I just went to a dark place and I was like, I think I was living in a hotel. Because you're not homeless till you're in the street, but I was in a hotel, but I didn't have a place.
Yes.
And I just couldn't get it all together. And then one day, at the darkest moment, I was on the beach. True story, I'm sure this. And I was like, I lost everything. And then my mother, and I'm looking out in the ocean, and that enemy, that devil, you might as well go out there and kill yourself. Ain't nobody gonna care. It's a dark ocean. Just run out there and just kill yourself. And I thought about it, and then I said, that's when he was loud in my ear, he's always been loud in my ear since a kid. That same voice carried on. And I said, yeah, I think I'm gonna, and I just started jogging. I said, nigga, you've been trying to kill me since I've been here. So that kind of woke me up. And it was like, so I was about to go in the ocean, just made a right and just started jogging the beach.
Nice.
And after that, I started motivating myself, giving myself, because I'm hard-headed anyway, so I don't like to be told what to do. So nigga try to kill me. I'm like, nah, I think I'm always the opposite anyway.
Right.
But I just use that as motivation. And yes, I was in a dark place. And yes, I was depressed. And yes, I was lost. And nothing else mattered. And to come out of that was the hardest time ever in my life. But slowly by slowly, I was building myself up. And I got to where I...
What was your strength? What do you think gave you the strength?
My kids.
Okay.
Because I had something to live for. And then when sometimes a voice will tell you what you got nothing to live for, when you got people that love you and need you here and that's on this earth, it don't have to be kids, it be family, friends, whatever it is, it's always something to live for.
Absolutely.
That's a lie. And then that's what I held on to. And then I just started, I motivate myself. And me and God got closer. That's
the whole point of it all too.
Yeah,
to bring you closer to him.
Yes. And on that note, got me. And I just never looked back, motivating myself, motivating people. And he says, what you do, I'm going to make you stronger, uplifting people. In your worst, I want you to speak life into people. Because when you got everything, you don't speak life. At my worst, I was, you can do it, you can speak. I've always been like, but it increased. And so blessing somebody and speaking life into somebody, it kept building me up. It was like, I was like, ooh.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, keep doing that. I want you to, in your worst, not in your good time. I want you to, that's how you're going to get it back. So me and God had a plan, and that was a plan. I just spoke life into people, motivated people, and didn't have nothing. And all of a sudden, from nothing, those pockets started growing and growing.
Because you were being obedient.
I was being obedient. And on that note, that was my words. So how about you?
Because when you weak, he is strong.
Yeah. How about you now?
So no, like I went on this, I can relate, because I went on a season, I called it a season of self-sabotage. because I felt like, after my divorce, I didn't like who I was in that moment because, I had my foundation, programs in the schools and all this stuff. I had my own real estate company, all this stuff. So I'm not like this weak woman that can't move on. And so I didn't like that. So I was like, I just went on a season of self-sabotage because I was like, if I'm going to fall off, it's not going to be because of no man. Let me fall off for some other reason. So, but God's hand was always over me. He always kept me covered because I could have easily my life could have been totally different. I could have veered off. I was drinking. Then I didn't like the hangovers.
So you said you was drinking?
Numbing the pain. When you're trying to numb the pain.
You was drinking, trying to numb the pain.
Yeah.
And when did you get to your breaking point? When it was just getting
after
worse?
a while, you just get sick and tired of being sick and tired. And so after you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you're like, something got to change. And then what I started to, because I was not wanting to deal with anything. Like my journey took a long time, but it doesn't have to take everyone a long time. Mine took a long time because I didn't want to face it and I didn't want to do the work.
So face it meaning?
Face your reality.
Okay,
face
gotcha.
where you are. Face your part in it. Do the hard work.
And that's why it took longer? It
took me longer, yeah, because it took me a long time to get to that point. I didn't get to that point right away.
Gotcha.
So once I did, then you have to start looking inward. I always say when things happen to you, it's not about what happened to you. It's about, it's not about the thing that happened to you. It's about how you overcome it, right? So you start first with thinking about what was your part in it. You turn it inward. It's not about the blame game because that's not helping you grow. So what's your part in it? And then you start dealing with those. Why did you do this? You hold up the mirror and sometimes you don't like what you see.
So that moment, I don't want to go to the moment it snapped. When you was at your lowest and it just hit rock, nobody, it was dark. Tell me, go to that moment. Share that.
I can't even remember the exact moment, but it was just a matter of like, I'm just sick and tired because I'm better than this. I know I'm who God called me to be. I'm not sitting in no bed crying all day. That's not who I am. I just got stuff to do. And I know I deserve more. I know I deserve more.
Sorry.
So you have to do the work. Another thing too, I want to share too, like when you're starting again, you have to let go of your perception of what you thought it was. Because at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. I have an example of, and I'm switching time frames, but my youngest son, so the two older sons moved out of state with my ex. I let them go. I mean, I had primary physical. We had joint custody. I had primary physical, but I allowed the other two to go, older two, because they wanted to, and he was very hands-on. The youngest one was with me. But when he got to a certain age, he needed to be with his father, so he went. So we had a talk. I remember we were in the hotel lobby, my ex and I. And it was really our first time really like having a discussion. This was like years later, maybe, I don't know how many, like 6, 7 years ago.
Dealing with anger and mad when you're sitting in that lobby?
No. It came out, yes. It came out. But I was, this was years later. And so, but we had to talk about my son. And so we were talking about a couple things. And what I realized in our conversation is that like, he had one perception of one thing. And it not talking about the marriage, but stuff like with the kids and things like that. And I had a completely different perspective. And so no matter how much I was saying my point, I could see that he just don't get it or wasn't going to get it. And just like no matter how much he was saying his point, I wasn't going to get it.
No, everybody wasn't.
So at that night when I went up to the room, I was like, Lord, I released this because what I'm going to do? Hold on to am I being right or whatever? He totally don't even see it the way I see it. So what was the point of me holding on to all this? You have to change your perception. You have to let it go. It doesn't matter.
So you was holding on to what?
Just like, for example, with the kids, and I felt he was doing one thing in which he said it wasn't.
And I'm sorry, but you trying to hold on thinking you was going to get him back? No. Or you was way past that?
My idea of what happened in the situation, whatever situation we was talking about. Like I felt one way about the kids. I felt he was doing one thing and he felt I was doing another thing.
Wasn't on one accord.
We wasn't on one. We just saw things differently.
I got you.
And us seeing things differently, it was in that moment that I realized a lot of times we hold on, we have these stories of why things happen, this and that. But at the end of the day, just let it go. Change your perspective. That has nothing to do with anything.
Sometimes
because it releases you to move on. Because it lets the load off. It frees you.
Yeah, it frees you.
So that was that was a big aha moment, one of the many aha moments in my journeys.
And look what you now. Look at us now. We on the show talking, got just the deliverance from all the things where we at and how we kept fighting through everything. Because there's always something at the end of the tunnel.
Did you have an aha moment? Is there one time that you can think of in your many times of starting over where you had to like, you know what? It's not even that deep. Let me let it go. Or where you completely had to pivot and change your mindset about a certain thing so that you can flourish?
Well, I had to let, that's why the part I was talking about my mom's, I had to let the depression, all that go. Because it was driving me crazy. When I ran, I let everything go. That was the time, because everything else was keeping me bounded.
Right.
You feel what I'm saying? If you don't let it go, you're trapped. And I had to just like, yo, she gone, but I got something to live for.
Right.
That's when I let her go. And then that was able for me to start growing. And changing, it changed me in a lot too. And even how I'm handling my kids, my attitude, my the rough edges that build up through growing up rough in the hood. I had to, just learn. I learned more about myself letting it go.
Yeah.
Breaking down, every time I broke down, which is nothing wrong with crying, fellas.
No, it's healthy.
Sometimes it makes you the strongest man in the world to cry. And I wasn't raised like that, but when I finally broke with my mom, God broke me and made me better. So breaking me was to make me better, not to break me. And I had to realize that he broke me to make me a whole and new. Right. And I cry I'll cry at my moments still to this day. I'll cry by myself. I do that a lot. And it builds me up. It ain't like I just, because I miss people, you love people. Yeah. So releasing is strength.
Do you have, because I know you say you've started over many times. So is there a common theme that, each time you started over that helped you?
Yeah.
Like a valuable lesson you took from this and then you were able to utilize here to start over again?
Can't trust everybody.
Okay, so not being so trusting.
Handle your business. Because you think people, when you start something with business, everybody's all jolly and good.
Yeah.
But when that money start kicking in, people get crazy and wicked. So I had to learn to handle that paperwork, handle your business. People speak that loyalty in the beginning, but when everything starts coming in, it's a freaking problem. So it's a problem. Just handle your business, and people that are with you are gonna respect business. Business respects business.
Right.
It ain't nothing towards you. And if they get defensive, that's manipulation. Like, that's business. You know what I'm saying? That protects you and it protects me. I trust too much when I give. I give abundantly. But some people ain't like you. Right. They're thinking they have other motives and things in their head. And just got to protect yourself and your family.
And then you find like when you give, you're giving because that's what you want to do, not because you're expecting anything in return.
I want to give for them to grow. And then I'll do whatever and help. I love helping people. As always, God put that in me in the beginning. It's just something in me. But it's disguised by the rough shit. People get confused. And I think they get confused is when you do that bullshit with me and how I handle you. And that was wrong because I don't do that no more. But I wasn't, I see you in court. I don't know court.
Yeah.
It's on now. Like, I don't know what that is. I'm not going through lawyers to get to you. You took something from me that took away from my kids. Now I got to handle you. You know what I'm saying? Not saying that's wrong. That's the only thing I knew.
Right.
Now I'm just got discernment on, I think let's handle the paperwork. Let's do good business.
So when you're starting over, because you've started over multiple times, how do you recognize when it's time to pivot? How do you recognize, like, when it's time to move on and to try something else?
Just don't do the same thing you was doing before.
But even if you're trying something new and that's still not working.
Just keep moving. You can't, there's always a solution to everything. You can't never stop. You just got to keep going. That's all it is. How would you do it? I mean, when you started these situations, me, it just kept moving.
Yeah, me
motivating
too.
myself.
Me too, because after a while, you're not getting anywhere. So what's the point? You're wasting time.
Man.
So I've had to pivot multiple times, all the time. I try stuff because I feel like I have all these anointings and these gifts, and I know it's my purpose, and I'm trying to do it, but then the sales are not coming, and people are not calling, and then it's like you're frustrated. Like, what do you do? But you finally have to just release it. Like this year, 2025, when I finally and I surrender. You surrender all the time as a process, right? You put it down, you keep picking it up. But, God will give you a million chances to get it right. But this year when I just felt like now, things are just falling into place naturally. But it's not me forcing it. I'm just open.
Was you forcing before?
I was trying to force it. I was trying to get my agenda. I was trying to, because sometimes I have these gifts, but maybe that's not the way I was doing it. It's not what God had for me. And then sometimes God would make people unavailable because it's not what you're supposed to be doing anyway. But I would just keep trying to make my point.
So you believe this? So I always tell people now, don't force nothing.
Right.
Things, don't rush nothing and don't force nothing. Something always bad comes out of that.
Facts.
If it ain't smooth and you don't have peace about it, don't try to squeeze something that's not there.
Right.
That's good business.
Yeah.
Don't let nobody rush you into stuff. If you feel a certain way, trust your first instinct.
And you have to trust that God has it worked out for you. Because I think in the beginning when I was forcing, and a lot of people when they force, it's because they have this scarcity mindset. So they feel like that has to be it because there's nothing else popping off. So I got to do it. But you just got to release, because if that's not it, then it's okay. I mean, you know, because that's a lot of wasted time again with me.
I'm going to ask you something. And this is, you can share this with me. People, when they dealing with certain people, and them other people ain't even thinking about you, but you're thinking about them more than they thinking about you.
Always facts.
I tell people, if they're not thinking about you, you're consumed in shit that he's not even, or she ain't even worrying about. So you're stressed, your anxiety's up, you're angry, you're depressed, you're going through all this stuff, and that person that did all that to you ain't thinking two things about you. And that part, you should hit to yourself and go, you know what? I got to free myself. Because that dude's on the beach or she's on the beach. She ain't thinking about nothing you going through. You sitting there crying and whining. They don't give a shit about none of that shit.
They're living rent-free in your head.
On that point is, what's that moment when you go, enough is enough?
Right.
You know, have you ever did that hit you like that? Have you ever had one of those? When it's just like when you saw that the other person wasn't even,
all the time.
Did you see it?
Yeah. Well, when they not doing what they're supposed to do.
No, did you see like, whoa?
No, sometimes you can't see it if you're in it.
See it.
But eventually you do see it. You're like, oh, wait a minute, I'm better than this.
Yeah.
You know, I'm better than this. I don't have to sit and go through this. But I think, you know, a lot of times we think the best that's ever happened, like we can't happen again. And so you feel like you always trying to recapture, or you romanticize the memories because you try to make it into what it wasn't. Does that make sense?
Yes, I get it.
Yeah,
that makes sense on 10 steps ahead. All this emotions and feelings and all of this like that. Right now is getting me thinking of shit. You know, just wow. You know, sometimes you got to look back to see where you at.
That's right.
Right?
Because sometimes you forget.
Like,
sometimes
I'm in a
I
good
forget.
place.
But I used to always journal. I always tell people when you go through stuff, just write it out. One, it gets it out of you because you can't let it stay bottled up. Yes. And then two, you can write your emotions in real time because one day that could be your book. You know what I'm saying? All that stuff. And then if you're trying to write the book later and you're trying to remember that feeling, but if you can go back, I can go back to old journals and read it and be like, wow. You know, and then you can just be amazed by how much you've grown and how God moved in your life. Yeah. So I think it's important to like write it out, but then you can't stay stuck in a spot where you have to be able to change and to pivot, because what happens, it's so much more on the other side. You can't lose hope. I guess I want to say, did you ever get to a place where you lost hope?
Yeah, it gets close, but it's on that. But you know what? I wanted to ask you something because I was watching you on the Nene Lake show. Nene Leaks. Nene Leak. I love Nene. We got to get her on the show. But when she said she was checking on you. Yeah. And you was shut down. But I was like watching, I was like, yo, she didn't even care about the show and all, you know, what she was on. She was very concerned. And I never knew that, you know.
That's why I wanted to say that on public.
And that was, when you said that, you said, thank you for doing that. That was real to me. Yeah. I was like, yo, D, that's hot. Because she didn't have to do all of that.
She didn't.
But then you acknowledged that and said that on the show. I thought that was dope.
That was important to me because a lot of people, you know, they say whatever they say about her.
Look at your phone when you're at your darkest moments and see who's on those texts. That's when you know who's real, y'all. Look at your phone when you come out that dark and you go and just check all the messages. And the one that's on there the most got a lot of love for you. I mean, that's how I would say it, you know. I don't know. That's what these damn texts is all about. Phones
it's hard. It's hard for your circle because when you're in the pit, you know what I'm saying? They want to get in there with you, but they want to pull you out. And another thing, when you're going through something, even for people, if you have somebody that you love, you can talk to them till they're blue in the face. Until they're able to receive it, they're not going to do it, but you cannot get mad at them and you can't write them off. Gotcha. Just be there because eventually they will wake up. Eventually, like with me, you know, people could say stuff to me till they blue in the face. But if I wasn't ready, I wasn't ready. But once I got ready, then if you're still there, and it's not like I told you so, whatever, you're just there genuinely and you're there to help guide them out of the thing.
Yeah.
That's the best advice I can say. Because
That's good advice.
don't write them off. You know, and you can't make it. You can still say it because they listening, they remember it, but you can't make them. You can't make them do it faster than they're able to.
You can't. And I received that. See, I'm learning. Just listening to you, I'm like, yeah, that's some. You know,
I mean, I feel like my life is a movie.
We learn off each other. Your life is a book.
Exactly.
That's why she said write it down.
Write it down
you
because
turn a negative into a positive.
You can turn that thing into a course. You make that a book. You can make it a life, script.
Yeah.
You know, God, pain. You never let the pain go to waste. Yeah. There's no point in that. You went through too much stuff to let it go to waste.
It's good to hold on to some pain that drives you. You know, not pain to devastate you, but just keeping an edge on you. Just to, it's right there on your shoulder. Well, you know what you came through. Where you came from.
Right.
Just not to make it to know that. Listen, see where you came from?
I don't need to be reminded.
This could be, not reminded in a bad way.
Yeah.
Reminded on something. I came through this.
Well, that's why you have a scar.
I don't like to be comfortable.
You know what I'm saying? Scar. It's
so
like
sometimes
scars always
you can get
there.
comfortable. Mm-hmm. I think me making myself uncomfortable has made me successful.
Right.
Meaning, I'm never forgetting where I came from and who I am.
Right.
I don't care how much money, where I came from and who I am. Where I came from is what made me who I am. Mm-hmm. And those you got to see from the beginning to where you are. You can't get lost in the middle. That's what keeps you structured. That will keep you stable.
Yeah,
that
messy
will keep
middle.
you real. And that's what keeps me. I don't know what keeps everybody else. Because people will start here and forget everything in the middle. And then when they get there, they get so bad, they forget where they came. And that's an old saying. But because they're trying to forget things, but those things is the ones that made them who they are.
Well, life is about the journey. It's not about the destination.
Yeah.
And it's all the growth and stuff happens in the journey. And it's purposeful.
Yeah.
It's purposeful. It's what needs to be worked out in you so that you can be ready for what he really has in store for you.
Yeah. You're doing some doctor stuff, dude.
Yeah, I'm ministering.
On today, man. You've been on today. I like that. I'm receiving that in my spirit.
Amen, amen.
Yeah, I've been loving this show. We've been keeping it real. And I like the way we just interact. And our whole journey on 10 Steps Ahead is to help the next.
Right.
That somebody gets something out of it. We're not holding nothing back. We're sharing our own personal lives. And I know everybody sees us, evolving in these shows. And now y'all about to see some guests coming on. We was getting warmed up, but we just wanted to show who we was.
Right. And it's about taking life's challenges and making strategic moves with them.
Absolutely.
Chestnut checkers.
Stop playing with me. I'm sorry, I'm getting a little excited. I gotta keep my hands under the mic.
Anyway. All right, everyone.
But everyone, I'm so excited. Thank you today. DeShawn, you've been on. You was lighting up today. You was sharp today.
Thank you.
And I had to listen a lot. I was like, wow, I was receiving everything you were saying.
Thank you. You always give us nuggets. You were always like talking the sense into me.
How are you looking forward to, this is like, we just our last 2 episodes. Now we're going to start having guests on. It's going to be on and it's going to be exciting. What you feel about that?
I'm excited. Yeah. Because I feel like everybody has a journey and, we're not going to just talk about the surface stuff,
I love it. But I'm here on Skido on 10 Steps Ahead. And I know you've been seeing me do these cards because DeShawn made sure that everything was on point. You see how I'm promoting?
Yes, 10 Steps Ahead. We're going to get the merch.
The merch. We getting all of that. That's just the way I'm doing this because I was proud what my sister did. She put it all together. It takes, teamwork makes the dream work. You know what I'm saying?
All right, so let's keep the conversation going. I got baby sis coming up for her segment. Let's talk about it.
I love it, man.
Hey, guys. Welcome back to 10 Steps Ahead. I have baby sis Kay in the building.
What up, though?
Let's talk about it.
Talk about it. Okay, so, hey, Skido, how are you?
All right.
Sis, how you doing?
I'm well.
Okay, great. Okay, y'all ready?
Yes.
I just got a couple of things. These questions, by the way, they're not on the cards. They just come off the top of my head. Let's be clear about that. So the first question I have is, do you guys think that people abuse their ability to have a platform nowadays? When you look at the reflection of society, like back in the day, it wasn't a platform. It was where you grew up and who you grew up around and things like that. But now you got influencers that just become influencers because they in the camera all day. Not saying they don't have substance, but like, do you think some of those people like abuse their platform?
Like not using it to help
for good
people.
Purposes, because there's so much chaos. Like, and then starting with the quote unquote YNs and things like that. You know what I mean? Like knowing all the mental issues and things that we have going on. Do you think some people abuse their platform?
I think they're some are irresponsible.
With the platform.
You know, so is that the same as abuse? You know,
Yes.
because I think a lot of times people don't realize the impact they have or the influence they have.
Right.
And so they're on there talking reckless. But they themselves might just be reckless and don't know any better.
Yeah, that's true.
They think because they got a camera, they take advantage of that.
Yeah.
And they front out there like they're really doing something. I do see a lot of that.
Okay.
They do take advantage of that. And it's flooded out there with that. Not everybody with a camera is doing something.
Right.
You
and it's
understand?
not always the artists. Like, you know, our influencers used to be like teachers, church folks, and things like that. You know, come on, now, amen. Church on the move. Okay, so the next question. I was just wondering about starting over. How do you feel about starting over? Like when you come from, or when you're going through certain things, and not so much a trauma to where it has to be a marriage, just it could be a failed project at a job and you got discouraged, or somebody could fail nursing school and have to start over and things like that. Like, what motivates you to keep going when you start over, when you're starting
I think
over?
the first thing is mindset. You have to know that because for the longest, a closed door, I would try to beat that thing down. And sometimes a closed door is God's, man's rejection is God's protection. So I've since learned that, if that's just not for me at this moment.
Come on.
I don't take any, offense to it. I just redirect myself. So if you have that mindset, like, because there's no such thing as failure. Success is just failing forward, right? And so if you have that mindset, not like it's a negative, you focus on what you learned from it. So that's a positive. That's something, that you can save yourself time on the next time around. So if you don't look at it as a negative and you know that, okay, that's just not what God has for me at this moment, then it's easier for you to pivot and do whatever you need to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you say not to look at the negative. I look at it like negativity turns into motivation for me. You tell me I can't do it, I'm going to do it tenfold, right? So that's some people.
Everybody's different.
Yeah.
And on that, and the big of it is mindset to me. So when I've lost and started over plenty of times, but then when you get to that bottom, just know that it's not over.
That's right.
Yeah.
So your
You can
mindset,
only go up.
Yeah, don't keep, because that's when depression and all that thing hit. Just shake it off. You living, you breathing, and there's always a solution. And just trust yourself. You know what I'm saying? You give yourself a couple of days and shake that shit off and start that what got you to the top before you lost it. Remember that. It's all mindset. And just remember that hustle and go right back into that same hustle.
Right.
And then also is too, because like one of the things, I had other failures besides my marriage or whatever, but for the longest I thought like, oh, my life is over, but that's limiting God. Like, and the breakthrough for me was when I realized, God had a plan for me before I was even formed in my mother's womb, before I met my ex-husband, before all of that. So just because he's not in the picture, it has nothing to do with God's plan for me.
Yeah.
It's
God's still
not
going to
it
do
just
it.
ended.
It just, okay.
It was time for it to end. That's all.
I'm
Not a failure.
okay.
You had that going.
But yes, but I'm just saying, so when you look at it like, it doesn't define anything. You know what I'm saying? God's plan for you is still God's plan for you.
Keep it moving.
So,
Keep going. Don't give up on nothing.
And don't get discouraged.
We all go through things. Just stay the course. And if you don't believe, be your own motivator.
cheerleader.
yeah.
Because and here's the thing, I got to say this. Don't look for other people to build you up.
That's right. Put the-
That's
There you go.
Back
the
down.
worst thing you could do. You only could build yourself up. You understand? Because the way they build you up might make you crash worse than how you felt.
Because what they say, crabs in a bucket. So a lot of people like you to stay.
They'll be building you up to set you up for the fall.
As long as you don't go
Exactly.
further than them, right?
That's real.
Yeah. Okay.
And try not to be around those kind of people, though.
They everywhere, though.
They're everywhere.
The devil come in all different disguises.
Stop being people pleasers.
Yeah.
that shit'll get you in a lot of trouble too, and with bad friends too. You feel like you need a crowd, or I need somebody around
validation.
Me. What you need is motivation and know who you are as a person. You keep thinking you need people going through their own problems, and then they don't have the good intention for you. So start being people pleasing and be yourself. Love yourself, and that's gonna get you even further in life, and get you, when you lose everything, get you up faster.
Yeah.
True.
Absolutely.
And then a lot of that is too some stuff you're just built for it. Like you're not built to break.
Yeah. You know how that go.
Yeah.
D, and we in the double D.
Okay.
I love these questions. Yeah.
Okay, I got one more. Let's see.
Bring it.
Name one thing in your childhood that you think you carry today that affects you, whether it's you making wrong decisions or right ones. Name one thing in your childhood that you think affects you.
That's a great question.
Good question.
Me, I think it could be how we was raised. Huh?
Spoiled?
No.
Who's spoiled? I know you ain't talking. I was
you
walking
talking?
through the snow
How you know
with one shoe.
What?
Walking in the snow.
Everybody got their own different thing. What is
Okay,
yours?
maybe I wasn't, but I was not spoiled. I was
Okay,
I
answer
wasn't.
that question.
It felt like it. I was always, I was not spoiled. She was spoiled.
Okay.
Okay.
So what's the question? The question.
Okay, one thing from your childhood. I just had to get that out because she put it out there.
Well, what is your one thing?
in
What's
my
your
What's your
childhood.
one thing?
It was probably how we grew up. Things like we didn't have no Cosby Show lifestyle. You know what I'm saying? But some people, if they were in our situation, they probably wouldn't have took it the way that we did. Again, we took negativity and turned it into motivation, which hence makes us where we at today. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people, I feel like if I put the shoes on your feet and I laced them, you still couldn't walk in them. You know what I'm saying? So that's what I take, how we grew up. What you take? One thing from your childhood.
I'm going to think on it. We go to ski.
One thing that...
Because I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a lot.
There's that.
You might help me with that.
Okay.
Let's see what Skido has to say.
Oh, no, my pride.
Pride?
Yeah.
Did something happen to make you realize that you moving?
When I knew, well, as a kid, when I knew I was by myself.
Okay.
So the pride helped me be strong. Okay. I'm not saying it, but it never turned off. It got stronger. So, but because of the situations dealing with living in everybody's house, I wasn't never stable. My mom's on drugs and all that. So I as a young man, had to become older than I was. So that pride kept me, but it also messed up a lot of things future. So now I balance to relax. Yes. So if you deal with a lot of pride, you got to chip away at that shit, because that could be your disaster
downfall. Too. Yeah, for sure.
And then for me, give me some options.
No, she can't give you options on you.
Ask me the question again. Because I really, something that I had that I grew up with, that I have with me today. My determination?
No, girl.
Oh.
What?
No.
It's supposed to be something bad.
It doesn't have to be something bad, but just something in your
with.
child. Like, hence, why do you shut down? I know you spoke about that on another episode.
Oh, do I shut down?
You know what I'm saying?
I do shut down.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, maybe from my childhood I had to shut down?
Something.
Yeah.
She compartmentalizes
Are you blocked?
a lot.
Is your brain blocked?
Yeah,
that could be therapy, another show we could do.
I
we all
want to
need
EDMR.
therapy.
No,
because I forget things. Like, I don't remember things.
A lot of things.
Calling all
and
doctors.
It comes across. Sometimes it comes across. It could come across cold. Like because she bottles it up. Like she just puts it to the back.
I just feel like, noted.
So you know what?
I'd be like, oh, okay,
Let's
noted.
get a doctor to help all of us.
Yeah.
Because something's blocked up there.
No,
and
for
then
sure.
And then I just got unblocked. You know, I'm saying I was blocked out for a minute too. I'm just telling you how
I
to
didn't block you.
So,
but no, I mean, we didn't grow up. I mean, we have our defense mechanisms. You know what I'm saying? We have that. And then sometimes, though, that doesn't serve us in the current moment.
Right.
So I'll think on that. It's probably some stuff that I still am using tools that is not serving me in this moment.
Right. Exactly.
Such as?
Good.
Well, because people tend to build fences, right?
Oh, I have a fence.
As a coping mechanism, but they're unhealthy fences because it doesn't help you connect with the next person. It just helps you think you internalize what's going on, and somebody's supposed to put up with how you respond. Yeah.
But I'm open.
You're not. Open to what?
I'm
Sushi?
open to
Nigga,
the-
what are you
There's
open
some healing
to?
going on in here.
Different food.
I'm open
love
to the
it.
possibility. I'm not shut down.
You're not.
Mm-mm.
Okay.
Let's
So
talk
let me
about
ask y'all something. I got to
Sorry.
intervene
Go
here.
ahead.
Nobody knows y'all better than y'all growing up in the same house.
Exactly. Share
Let's
the
stop.
same bed.
So
Ain't
sometimes she's been watching you and you've been watching her. Ain't nobody outside this world would know her better than you. So it's good to accept what she's saying because she's looking from the outside, not to make you bottle up to go. They love you and they're looking at you going, these are the issues, not to condemn you, to make you better.
Bruh,
And
yeah.
ain't nobody outside know it better than the ones you grew up with.
That's facts. That's facts. I received
But
it.
you know that. I'm not. We
No,
all
I know. I'm
the
just
same.
giving
But
you know,
but I want to learn.
Do you?
Yes.
Yeah, she do.
Nigga.
I
She
want
trying.
to be a better person.
No,
Ooh.
because that other episode, you talk about you want to, what did you say? You want to practice. You have to, who you going to practice on? You can start by just practicing how you interact with people. That will
That's
help
good.
you.
Oh, I
Whether
guess
it's a male
that's a
or a
good thing.
female. You just,
I think I interact fine, though.
Do you?
Yes.
Oh,
Don't we interact?
okay.
No, you can't. You're working on yourself.
I'm working on myself.
That's the word. It's a work in progress. You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
And we all are work in progress.
We work in
So
progress.
you can't
for sure.
say I'm okay. You're not.
No
we'll
one's
never
ever
be
okay.
okay. We're always working. Y'all agree with
yeah,
that?
I agree.
I agree.
That's
I'm
real.
a work in progress.
Growth is always
It's
it comes
Exactly.
with disappointments
evolution.
and all, yeah. But with elevating comes elimination and isolation too. So
That's
you
true.
just probably got to pop out.
Isolation.
Evolve and elevate.
Okay.
To the club. Wellness brand.
Oh,
Evolve and elevate.
Well, what you say? Wellness?
My brand.
Oh, the brand.
Yes,
yeah,
please.
Yeah. But that all the weights in the world ain't gonna help all that.
Hello.
That I lift all the
You can't
weights.
lift them if
Kung
you're
Fu,
carrying them.
karate,
Honestly,
yoga,
though, you can't
all that
lift them
shit
if
don't
you're
help.
carrying them.
How the hell you act towards people? I lift weights, still act crazy when I leave the gym.
Yeah.
That's not healing. That's just self making you feel better. But mentally, healing's inside your soul and spirit and receiving from people that love you.
Absolutely.
If you can't receive, then you're gonna hit a hard. You're gonna keep hitting walls. You'll
Yeah,
never
because you don't
change.
have yes men. Like I'm
Yeah,
not a yes.
you're not.
She know that
Yeah.
off top.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
not the
she's-
one
And
that
it's
she's
be
love,
not
like,
it's
been a-
sister.
Oh, yeah,
oh
of
yeah.
course.
Yes, I will always
But I don't
check
surround
my
myself
sister.
with yes men.
Oh.
No, you don't know what
Not
yes men
anymore.
are. You don't know. Stop.
Yeah,
Stop.
come
stop.
on with it. 'Cause
Stop.
you don't
Nobody
even have to
telling me
get to
yes.
name dropping. Just
Ain't nobody
yes.
telling
You don't
me
want a yes. You
Yes,
think
Shani,
you,
that's so
no. You
right.
think a yes person's gonna tell you they're a yes person? They don't tell you they're a yes person.
Correct.
They just
They just
you don't
go
even
with
know
the
they
bullshit.
did. They just bubble
Correct.
up and laugh at you
And keep you with it.
and it be bullshit. Nobody knows what a yes person. People that always agree. The truth is when you don't like to hear
That's
certain
the
shit.
ones
And
that
that's
really
the ones
care
you
about
keep
you.
around. Those are the
Yeah.
ones you don't. Some people don't like it because they like to be stroked. They like to be comfortable. They don't like to be uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And when we uncomfortable, we act, we shut down. We don't want to hear it because it triggers shit in us.
Yeah.
To be real, to heal is let it trigger you to heal.
Yeah.
That's the really to go through the process.
But you
That's
gotta
the stuff we
listen.
don't want to go through. That's why
Preach.
we're getting doctors here. We're gonna have doctors coming on.
But you also gotta listen. Right? That's the
Yes,
first.
receive.
He said that was the one thing you had to do with the man, and you just went right over it. It's like,
Did you say that?
I don't know what I'm saying. Sometimes I just be talking crazy.
will.
I just
Trust
say what I
me.
say from my
God
heart.
send me a man. I am going to be listening. I'm going to be
Well, you-
all ears.
Whoa. Time out. You gotta be
God,
straight
yes,
before you get the man. You
Yeah,
gotta
before-
listen
yeah,
now
yeah.
because
I need to practice.
you gotta work on it now before God send it. I mean, I'm not talking
Yes.
to God, but I would want you right before you came into my life.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Because you can't come with that mess,
Well-
especially when I'm, you reach a certain age where you good. You like, nah, I want to try. I want to enjoy myself. But by that time, I think you're gonna be good.
Okay.
That's what we're
not
doing
always
here.
right, but because you don't want nobody perfect.
No, yeah. No one's
Nobody- who's
perfect.
perfect?
No one's perfect but
Nobody, we
God.
all off.
All right.
We're unbalanced.
Well, this was a very lively discussion.
Hey, I
Thank
loved
you.
it. She was at the doctor and the
Let's
healer.
talk about it.
Let's talk
with
about
Kay.
it.
Let's talk about it with Kay. I love that when she gets on the show. She brings a different light, and I love it, man. I respect it, man.
Thank you.
God bless you.
But thank you, everyone, for tuning in for this episode of 10 Steps Ahead. Love and light.
Let's go.